Ever since Dave Filoni started getting into Dark Jedi in canon now, the Ahsoka trailer showcased that, more specifically, even Jedi Survivor now, we are getting more and more Dark Jedi and moving away from the Sith. Well, I started exploring my older topics. I've been doing this for 7 years now, believe it or not, and it's kind of amazing that I've never made a video about this specific Dark Jedi. I've read through a lot of material in my time, of course, but this one just never got to a video topic. So today, not only am I going to talk about the Mace Windu doppelganger that turned to the dark side called Sakuis, but also how Darth Vader trained his clones to become Force-sensitive stormtroopers. You're not gonna want to miss this. So for those not familiar, Sakuis was among the first Dark Jedi to serve on the group known as Palpatine's super loyal Emperor's Hand. Legends material holds a lot of Dark Jedi that ultimately ended up serving Palpatine, but of course, this guy was one of the first. He was highly skilled in lightsaber combat, and he was also appointed as the leader of the Imperial Commando Special Unit, an elite special forces group attached to the 501st. So they weren't the 501st, but they were a branch of it. Essentially, Sakuis was a modern-day canon inquisitor. His and his unit's primary mission was to hunt down Jedi sympathizers, deserters, and his squad comprised of clone commandos and ARC troopers. Now, what you need to know is Sakuis was extremely loyal to Emperor Palpatine, ready to die for him at any point in time. So much so that in 19 BBY, Palpatine, in order to test Darth Vader, sent Sakuis to assassinate Darth Vader, fully aware that Quis would ultimately be defeated by Vader. Even Sakuis knew this and accepted the order. He was willing to sacrifice himself for his master, and so on the planet Vohai, Quis orchestrated several assassination attempts on Darth Vader. However, the Sith Lord, aided by also Irv Lakuf, effortlessly dispatched the attackers. This came down to a final battle between Sakuis and Darth Vader. Despite Quis's formidable skills, he was ultimately outmatched by Vader's prowess. His lightsabers were cut down, he was cornered, and facing the wrath of Vader for the last time, Vader grabbed him with Force Choke and started extracting information. Even on the brink of death, Sakuis defiantly withheld the identity of his master, since Vader didn't know who he really was or was sent by. But Vader knew this type of loyalty all too well. Since Sakuis was ready to die for his master, he quickly deduced that it was Palpatine who had orchestrated this mission, knowing that his master wanted to test him. Because of this, Vader released his Force Choke, and he was impressed by Sakuis's allegiance. So he did what nobody really expected him to do, or something that he has never done in canon. He allowed him to survive momentarily in order for Vader to obtain swabs and cell samples for cloning purposes. Once these samples were collected, Darth Vader extended one last chance for surrender. However, Quis, defiant and loyal, refused. In a swift act, Vader quickly decapitated him completely, and this would lead on to the real story of this video, and it's a crazy one. The 6 clone stormtroopers that were bred from the genome of a Dark Jedi Sakuis, trained in lightsaber combat. This has never been tackled in canon, of course. By now you all know that. And if you're familiar with the first Ralph McQuarrie concept art for Star Wars, you know that back in the day, George Lucas had the idea of the lightsaber being an enforcement weapon by the Empire, even by the Jedi. So we have this concept art of stormtroopers with lightsabers. This is essentially what it came down to, a branch-off story where Darth Vader trains these stormtroopers. After the Dark Jedi's death, Darth Vader initiated this experiment by getting clones from his DNA. He departed from the Kaminoan cloning method and instead used the clone masters of Arcanian Microtechnologies. They were known for their expertise in Sparty cloning cylinders. The chosen template was, of course, Sakuis, that Dark Jedi that was super loyal to Emperor Palpatine, and this is why Vader ultimately wanted his clones. He wanted these clones to be deathly loyal to their master, but not only clones who were super loyal, clones who were also Force sensitive. And so, Arcanian Microtechnology spent over a year replicating Quis's genome, resulting in 6 prototype clones that were fully grown and trained as Imperial stormtroopers. stormtroopers. While these clones wore standard stormtrooper armor, they wielded red-bladed lightsabers instead of blaster rifles. In addition to their proficiency in melee combat, the clones harnessed their inherited force powers too, allowing them to utilize telekinetic techniques. The completed clones received training on the planet Yinkor under the supervision of Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, both with practical instruction provided by another of the Emperor's hand, Shavon. Palpatine and Vader closely monitored the final stage of the clones' training, and these clones showcased their lightsaber skills in sparring sessions against each other and even against Vader. Even the Emperor was fascinated when he observed their performance. The culmination of their training involved individual matches between all the 6 clones and the clones of Lieutenant Irv Lakouf, one of Vader's trusted officers. The test even went on one further step. When they were disarmed of their lightsabers for the non-lethal part of the exercise, the clones demonstrated the superiority of their force abilities in defeating the ordinary clones. Satisfied with the result, Palpatine ordered to procure an entire battalion of Quiz clones from Arcanian Microtechnologies. The Quiz clones then became the newest members of Vader's 501st, accompanying the Sith Lord to the Imperial Center. Unfortunately, Shavon, who had secretly harbored treacherous intentions since discovering Quiz's existence, led the Quiz clones in a rebellion against Palpatine. Feeling deceived by the Emperor, Shavon redirected the clones' loyalty to himself, seeing them as followers of the one who trained them rather than the 2 Sith Lords who had commissioned their creation. Caught off guard, the Imperial personnel aboard Palpatine's shuttle were unable to prevent this rebellion, and the Quiz clones even seized control of the vessel. However, despite their superiority over non-Force users, they proved unable to defeat Darth Vader in real combat. This wasn't training anymore. With the aid of the Lakouf clone stormtroopers, Vader engaged Shavon and his Quiz clones, resulting in the death of 4 clones by flamethrower and the remaining 2 by force choking by Darth Vader. In fact, the Sith Lord himself personally killed Shavon in a very brief duel. After the incident, the Sakuis template was decommissioned, but Palpatine remained open to the possibility of cloning a Force-sensitive army in the future. Of course, we know this to be a failure ultimately because even in Legends and in canon, we've never seen that as a real possibility, but you can see that even in Legends, the idea of Force-sensitive clones keep harboring in the villains' mind. We recently saw Moff Gideon attempting the same thing, so it's really interesting to see if we will really ever get this type of Force-sensitive clone, a successful Force-sensitive clone, ever in the future. This experiment was even worse for Darth Vader because his opposition to cloning Force-sensitive individuals strengthened because of this failed Quiz clone experiment. He believed that the inherent nature of Force-sensitive clones predisposed them to disloyalty and sought to avoid their use in the future. In Legends, cloning continued within the Stormtrooper Corps, with the emphasis shifting to ordinary candidates rather than those with Force-sensitives, and at this point, even Palpatine recognized Vader's worry, Vader's hesitance to experiment with the Force, because this is what clone Force-sensitives are, essentially. It's dabbling into unforeseen consequences, something supernatural that ultimately you just cannot control. What did you guys think about this crazy tale that has been buried in Star Wars Legends, and would you like me to also uncover more really great and disturbing Legends material too? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.